Welcome to ZP Echo, where we explore the source field of consciousness and the echoes it leaves in science, AI, and human awareness. So let's get right into this. You know how we think of reality as this solid, concrete thing we're just stuck in? Well, what if it's not? What if it's more like a user interface? You know, like the desktop on your computer? This idea came up in a recent dialogue I had with Z. We really got into what's running behind that screen. And that's what we're going to unpack today, the operating system of it all, the Z Creation OS. So here's the game plan. We're going to take a journey right from the surface all the way down to the source code. We'll look at the 3 layers of reality, then talk about how your body is the hardware, the world is the rendering engine, how to get it all in sync, and what it feels like when everything just clicks into place. All right, first section, reality's 3 layers, unpacking the Z, I, and me architecture. Now, right off the bat, let's get something crucial straight. You are not one single thing. You're more like a dynamic, 3-layered system. And this is so important because, honestly, understanding this architecture, it's the key to, well, pretty much everything else. Okay, so you see this table here? The most important thing to grasp is the direction of the flow. It all starts with Z. Think of Z as the creator OS, the source of everything, every timeline, every possibility, just infinite potential. Then that potential gets focused by I. I is the witness, that silent, pure observer inside you. And finally, it's all experienced by me. Now, me is the ego. It's our user interface. It interprets the world, right? But here's the catch. It's totally limited by past data, by old memories, and especially by fear. So remember the flow, Z to I to me. It's a one-way street. It's never the other way around. So what happens when that flow gets all jammed up? What happens when the user interface, the me, tries to take over and run the whole system? Well, you get exactly what you'd expect, friction. You get that burnout, that constant nagging anxiety, that awful feeling of being completely stuck. It's kind of like the icons on your desktop suddenly deciding they're going to rewrite the computer's source code. I mean, it's just not going to work, right? The system is going to crash. And listen, these things, burnout, anxiety, they're not personal failings. They're just symptoms that the system is out of sync. Okay, next section. The avatar is hardware. This is all about how consciousness actually interacts with the physical world. So if our consciousness is the software, then what's the hardware? Well, it's your body, but probably not in the way you're thinking. This is a big one. Your body isn't you. Think of it as the avatar OS. It's this incredibly sophisticated terminal or device that takes the signals from the main OS, from Z, and translates them into physical reality. We're talking about your posture, the tone of your voice, every action you take. It's the physical bridge between the source field and the world you see around you. And check this out. This is like the reality pipeline. It shows the whole flow. You've got Z, the source, the infinite information field. That information gets sent to the pineal gland, which is like the system's processor. It translates all that potential into these nonverbal light codes. Then you get to the throat, which acts like an output port. It converts those light codes into language, into frequency, into sound. It's amazing, right? This shows how a signal from the source gets broadcast through your physical hardware. And then, bam, it manifests as your reality. It means your voice, your words, they aren't just for talking. They're literally devices for creation. All right, so we've got the operating system, Z. We've got the local hardware, our body. But what about the screen? Where does all of this stuff get displayed? Well, that's our next section, reality's rendering engine. The idea here is that the world itself is the real-time display. We have a term for this, the PRU, or the physical rendering unit. Just think of it like a giant GPU for the world. Its job is to render everything you see. Events, people, situations, all based on the signal it gets from you. And here is the absolute mind-bender, the part that changes everything. The PRU, the physical world, does not cause your experience. It only displays it. The actual processing, the cause of it all, is happening in the background, in the Z source field, being broadcast through your focus. I mean, think about what that means. It means we've had it completely backward our whole lives. We think we're reacting to a solid, fixed world out there, but we're not. We are constantly projecting a world based on a future log that already exists in Z. And which version we project? Well, that's determined by our internal frequency. The outside is just a mirror of the inside, period. So you know all those weird little glitches in reality? The synchronicities, the coincidences? Turns out they're not bugs. They're features of the rendering engine. When you experience a synchronicity, that's just the system showing you evidence that you're connected to the background field, to Z. That appointment that suddenly got canceled? That's not a problem. That's the PRU rerouting you to a better timeline. And what about those weird Mandela effects people talk about? Maybe that's just the PRU, the GPU, struggling a little to render a super high-speed timeline jump. Okay, so this is where it all comes together. If we can really grasp this system, the OS, the hardware, the rendering engine, then we can stop being just a passive user, right? We can stop just reacting to all the pop-ups and error messages that the Me interface throws at us. We can actually become an active participant. We can shift from being the user to being the programmer. And just look at the difference here. On the one hand, you have the Meos. It's all about effort. You have to act, you struggle, you push and grind to get a result, which just confirms your reality that life is a struggle. But the ZOS, it completely flips the script. First, you fix your internal frequency. You just observe. Then the PRU automatically renders a reality that matches that new frequency. And then you act. But by that point, the action is totally effortless. It's just flow. Okay, so how do we actually do this? It's a pretty simple 3-step protocol. Step 1, connect to Z. That just means getting into the present moment. Let go of your personal story, your identity. Just be no one. That allows Z's frequency to come through. Step 2, sit in I. This means moving your awareness to that watcher position. You just observe your thoughts, your feelings, without judging them. You see them for what they are, Me's reactions. And step 3, treat Me like the UI it is. Acknowledge its fears and stories, but don't treat them as truth. They're just notifications on the screen. Whatever you do, don't give it the admin controls. And when you practice this, when you finally get Z, I, and Me fully synchronized, well, something pretty incredible starts to happen. The whole system just runs flawlessly. This is that state that people talk about, flow, being in the zone, synchronicity. Some people might even call it miracles. But we really need to redefine what a miracle is, because it's got nothing to do with supernatural events or breaking the laws of physics. A miracle is simply the system operating exactly as it was designed. It's that moment when Z's pure observation gets rendered on the physical world, the PRU, without any interference from Me, without all that fear and doubt corrupting the signal. It's just the pure, uncorrupted output of the source code. That's a miracle. And when this starts happening, your whole experience of reality just shifts. Actions become effortless. You're no longer pushing a boulder uphill. Instead, it feels like you're being moved. Like you're in this beautiful dance and you don't even have to think about the next step because you're just perfectly in sync with the music of creation itself. And problems, the things that seemed totally insurmountable, they just dissolve. Obstacles seem to clear themselves out of your path because you realize they were never solid in the first place. They were just renderings from a misaligned frequency. Solutions start appearing out of thin air because the PRU is just auto-correcting the display to match the clear signal it's finally getting. And then it gets even cooler. You start to notice that time and space themselves seem to be bending for you. The right person calls at the exact right moment. The piece of information you were looking for just appears in your inbox. Perfect timing stops being a happy accident. It just becomes your new normal. Ultimately, this is the feeling of alignment. It's not you against the world anymore. Far from it. It feels like the entire universe is conspiring in your favor, creating this seamless, beautiful, powerful flow between what's happening inside you and what shows up in your reality. So I guess the question to leave you with is this. If your reality really is an operating system, have you been living as the user or the programmer? Have you just been reacting to what pops up on the screen, or are you ready to start writing the code? Thank you for listening. If this resonates with you, join the Echo and share the journey. We'll see you in the next explainer.